Here we go. Well, hello, everybody. Pat Kilner here. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Pat Kilner. I have been an agent for 16 years. It's gone by in the blink of an eye, and have been developing the course that you're about to learn about and hopefully about to join me in over the next 60 days, called Bootcamp. We call it the Indispensable Agent Bootcamp. And this whole session, this next 30 minutes, is really just about me bringing you into what it is that boot camp is really about. I really appreciate you all taking the time out of your busy schedules and the time away from your family. As it's a gorgeous day, you could be out playing in the backyard with the kids, but you're here, and I want to honor your time. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to admit a few more people here, and I'm going to share my screen with you. All right, if you cannot see this, please let me know. This should go full screen. And this is the intro to the Indispensable Agent Bootcamp. A few ground rules right out of the gates. Here we go. The first is to really any ground rule. When it comes to a cohort, what I want to implore you to do is to share ideas, right? You could go through this cohort by yourself, sort of isolated. We're in isolation, many of us, isolated from the world, isolated from the cohort, but it's not why you would go and do an MBA. You could read all that material, but there's some magic that happens when you're part of a group going through something. So the first of the ground rules, sort of the principles of Bootcamp, is that you're doing this with other people. So please invest in others. Givers always get more than takers. So rule number one, share ideas. Rule number two, work in, results out. I've had a lot of people start Bootcamp who didn't put the work in. And they either sort of go through it and see it as some degree of entertainment, or they don't participate in a way that allows them to learn deeply. So please, please, please work in. You're going to get results out. I've seen it time and time again. I'm going to go ahead and manage some participants here really quick, because I know we've got some people that need to be admitted sitting on the sidelines who came in just a little bit late. There we go. Minimize that. Back here. Oops. We're going to get to that, don't worry. The next piece is that I want you to expect difficulty, right? Without difficulty, and this is why we call it Bootcamp, there's going to be some difficulty in pushing through just by the nature of the amount of time you're going to put in. We'll talk about the time that you need a lot to this, but expect that you're going to have to put in some work, and you're going to have to break through some difficulties in order to get to where you need to go to have those breakthroughs. The fourth is this: no recruiting. We've got folks from all sorts of amazing brokerages. A lot of you I know personally. Many of you I don't know personally. This is a no recruiting environment. This is an environment where you can come and just bear down and learn and share ideas. And so I own a brokerage. This is the furthest thing from my mind is recruiting. What I want to do is give back to people who want to grow their careers. And so that has to be the norm across all of us in this forum. You're going to have a lot of interaction with agents who you didn't know before, who you think are really talented. Zero recruiting. Respect broker affiliation. The next is, and final, is really be humble. Be humble enough to accept new ideas. The greatest performers in every single industry have been humble enough. Certainly the greatest performers over time have been humble enough to accept new ideas and to continue to grow. So I want to please implore you, if you're coming into this with all the answers, you're probably not going to get a whole lot out, right? I expect to learn a lot from all of you as well. And that's what really is so inspiring to me, so exciting to me as well. So those are the ground rules. Let's go ahead and jump into the 10 things that you need to know about Bootcamp before you jump in. Number one, I designed Bootcamp initially to vet talent. What does that mean? I've built a team. This was what I built in order to understand if people had what it took to be part of my team. Very, very specific, high standards. I couldn't imagine bringing people into my world, into my business without them having a certain language, a certain understanding of how business should be conducted. So understand that that's where it is. This is not something that is really designed for the masses necessarily. This was designed for people who really want to crank in real estate. And if that's you, you're going to find that this is going to be really, really high level for you. The second is this, that I built this for fluency. I lived in Spain for about 3 years and became fluent in Spanish. I was doing my grad work, so it was a little late for me to become fluent at a language, technically, right? The idea is that you give kids the ability to become fluent, and they can flip the switch without any problem, sort of toggle between two, three, 4 different languages. But I became fluent in Spanish, and that was an amazing experience. And that only happens with immersion. Immersion generates fluency, and Bootcamp is designed to be a pretty immersive experience to teach you the language of real estate. It has been the vehicle by which I've trained over 70 agents over the last 15 years. I've seen through about 2,000 real estate transactions in the past 15 years. If you haven't gone on mute, please do. I'm having a hard time toggling between this and others. So as you come in, please go ahead and mute. It has been frankly vetted through about 3,000 market analyses, and we're going to be doing a lot of understanding how to look at the market. About 1,500 listing presentations, probably a little bit more than that. So this has been what you're going to learn here is the fruit of a lot of work over a number of years that I've codified. And the idea of codification is to make people fluent really, really quickly. And that's the entire gig here. Now, you may already be coming to Bootcamp. We're going to talk about where you are in your journey. Some of you have been in this business as long or longer than I have. And so you're going to add to your level of fluency in certain ways, probably in very different ways than people who are in the first 2, 3, 4 years of their business. So understand, we can talk about what that fluency is going to look like either individually or as a group here. The third is this. It is built for today's market. There's a lot of stuff out there. Look, just because of time, there's stuff that was built for 20, 30 years ago, for even 10 years ago. This is built for today's market. This is frankly the 4th full iteration of the material that you're going to see. I began crafting this material, codifying this material about 5 years ago, and about every year I've done a revamp of the material because the market is moving so quickly that it has to be updated in that same vein, right? If you're not innovating with the market, you're going to be behind. The 4th is this: no scripts. That may sound really weird if you've been in real estate as long as I have. When I first came into this business, it was frankly all of the training that I was exposed to was scripts training. Here's what to do. Here's what I want to propose to you is that scripts are not the thing that make you unique and valuable in the marketplace. We call this indispensable agent because of the desire to make you truly indispensable to the marketplace, which means utterly unique and valuable in the marketplace. So there's a whole session on this. I'm not going to delve into it too deeply, but there's cheap knowledge out there, sort of what's called explicit knowledge, the things you can Google, the things you can easily sit down and within 20 minutes figure out, right? That's cheap knowledge, and that's becoming ubiquitous. That knowledge, scripts knowledge, and any knowledge that fits into that area is not things that are going to create a unique and valuable opportunity for you to gain market share. Bootcamp's all about you having that ability to go gain market share very quickly. it is, so it's not simply what to do, it's how to think about it. And that's what's called tacit knowledge. And tacit knowledge is the ability to apply great principles to different situations. It's at the root of wisdom. So we'll talk about that. But because of that, we're not going to be spending time on scripts. I'm going to tell you what has worked for me in certain circumstances. I'm going to give you a general idea of how certain ideas work in very specific circumstances. But I'm not going to tell you have to say it this way. Otherwise, the NLP won't work. That to me is not unique and valuable enough. And that's not why you're showing up. Number 5, no friends, no problem. What do I mean by this? A lot of what I've learned over the years or been trained on over the years is go to your friends and family and tell them that you're in real estate. And it becomes this sort of odd personal weirdness that can crop up with friends and family. Now, I've got lots of family, oldest of 9 kids, both my wife and my family are in this area. Lots of folks who I've worked with over the years who are friends and family. Doesn't mean you're not going to work with friends and family, but it does mean that you're going to build a business apart from being dependent on those personal relationships. So you can show up on the side of the soccer field and just be yourself. You can go to events and family things and not constantly be selling, right? That's the old way. That's not working anymore because people sniff out that lack of authenticity. It feels weird for both them and for you. And so what I want to propose to you is that we're gonna go about building a business practice through a professional lens that pays you, even if none of the people who you knew before you got into real estate work with you. The 6th, Bootcamp's really designed for people who are full-time and all in to this business. When I built my team, I couldn't afford for people who were part-time in this business. I couldn't. There's a lot of great people who have part-time careers in real estate. We have 2 million people in this game of real estate, approximately, with their license, right? About 1.6 million people in NAR membership. So you've got a lot of folks with their real estate license. Many of them are not full-time in the business, and that's fine. That's not what this is for. This is for vetting out whether you have what it takes and if you want to have what it takes to give you what you need in order to have a tremendous amount of success in the real estate game. Admitting a few more people here. Welcome. Go ahead and put yourselves on mute if I've just brought you in. Thank you. So that's the idea between being full-time and all in. Now, I know I've got some folks here who that's a given. You've been full-time for 10, 20 plus years in real estate. How should you be encountering Bootcamp and in perhaps a different way than people who are in the early years, right? If you're listening closely, you're hearing that, Pat, this sounds like something, this is for people in the early years of their development. And that was the idea. I wanted to get people as fluent as possible in this business, give them tools to be able to go and compete with people who've been doing this business for 5, 10, 15 years more than them. And if I could do that, then I knew that it would have a chance of survival. And because this market is ever more difficult to break into and to have success in, it's not hard to get your real estate license, it's hard to stay in, and it's becoming harder every single year. If you run in a brokerage, you know the churn rate just seems like it picks up every single year. Why? Because we do a great job of bringing people in as an industry, but we don't do a great job at retaining them and giving them the tools for survival. And we oftentimes say, well, that's because they just maybe there's not talent. Maybe it's that we haven't given them the language to speak. So what I want you to think about, let's say you run a team or you're an individual agent, very high producing, and you want to start building your team, or you're a brokerage and you want to bring on more people, but you don't want to commit to folks who aren't all in. Here's how I want you to think about this. How can Bootcamp, what I'm going to teach over the next 60 days, serve to ramp up people, my team members, people in my brokerage really, really quickly? And 2, how can it be a tool for me to vet out who I'm going to invest myself into? Right? That's what you promise. When you bring somebody into your life on this professional level, and you've been doing this on a professional basis for a number of years, you're deciding to link arms with that person, bring them in, and give them a piece of yourself. You got to know if they're willing to step up to the plate, and Bootcamp was designed for that. So there's a bit of a different shift in mindset for people who maybe have been doing this for 10 plus years and people who are in the first 20, 30 transactions of their life in real estate. All right. Number 7, crisis ready. This, just by virtue of when I got in the business, these ideas that I'm going to teach you were born out of 07, 08, 09, the financial crisis that rocked real estate and the financial industries. And the reason I bring that up is because we're in a similar time, right? We were already getting ready, just historically, for a correction in the marketplace. And in the DC area, I don't know about you, we were selling stuff, quite easily. So we weren't feeling it like perhaps other parts of the country. But this was born out of the time when we lost about half of the agent population in those 3-4 years. So it's crisis ready. And those principles, I believe, will serve you really, really well in this crisis management. So we can come out of this COVID-19 situation into a market that might be correcting a whole lot faster than we would have expected it to. And so be ready that this is going to give you some tools, especially if you're on the newer side of things, that are going to allow you to go and compete and be incredibly valuable to the marketplace. That's crisis ready. The 8th is I'm a player coach. Unlike maybe there's a huge coaching industry. It's one of the largest professions, growing professions around, are people who are coaches, right? Business coaches, real estate coaches. That's great. I'm also a player in this industry. And so in coming into this, understand that I'm going to be talking to you about some of the nitty-gritty stuff that I'm coaching people in the trenches every day, doing transactions, working with clients, building their business. And so you're going to hear some of that. It's going to be a little bit more gritty than maybe some of the general high level stuff. And hopefully, if that's what you're here for, that I'm going to give that to you. I cut Bootcamp on the spot. So I am cutting what you're going to be receiving on a weekly basis. I am cutting within a 7-day period prior to you hearing it. So I didn't cut this 3 years ago. And now you're getting what I came up with 3 years ago. You're getting what we're talking about today in the marketplace. And I'm applying principles that have worked and altering things that don't, so that you can have the best, sort of most tangible resources at your fingertips. Number 9, certification. You're going to go through this and you're going to have something to say, hey, I went through a tough boot camp. I went through the Indispensable Agent Boot Camp. You're going to be able to post that. A lot of folks who like to do that. Hey, I've done these courses. I'm certified. People ask that when you go into listing presentations, something that you'll be able to say that a lot of other people won't be able to say. So you are going to get a certification. But I think what's more important than that is that you're going to have access to all of this material. So you're building a team. Hopefully you're going to have consumed this and own it on your own. But if you ever need to go back, this is like a book you can keep pulling off the shelf. You're going to have access lifetime to it, and access to me and to the forum that we're going to be plugged into online to share ideas. So I'm really excited about that, even more than just having a certification. I think certifications are great, but people will work with you because of how you think, not just what you have on your resume. And a few more folks here. Welcome. Go ahead and throw yourself on mute, please, if you will. All right. The 10th thing you have to understand about the Indispensable Agent Bootcamp is that it's totally online. It was never not totally online. It just happens to work really, really well because of the fact that we are social distancing now and we're quarantined. So over the next 8 weeks, right, you're going to go through these 8 weeks, 2 months worth of material, and everything that you need is going to be online. From these webinars to being on a learning management system, that learning management system will sort of be the box where we put everything. So videos, homework, where you're going to be able to upload your work as well. so that you can get credit for it, and we can give you the certification at the end. By the way, you don't load up the work. I don't know that you're working, so I can't give you a certification for having actually done the course. So, and by the way, homework's not just for that. That's sort of a side note. Homework's there because we believe it's tremendously important for you to practice what we're teaching. So you're going to have all of that. Online as well will be the Facebook group, Indispensable Agent Facebook group, where that's the forum where you can interact with folks, connect with other people, ask questions, share resources. And so that's where, you know, it's really a totally online resource. You can always plug into me in any of those forums. And then I'm always available to each of you going through this via email. I'm going to send out my personal cell phone, so you can text me. We can even set up calls. So really excited about that as well. But for the most part, 100% online. And if you need to reach out voice to voice, happy to do that as well. So those are the 10 things. Here's what I want. I've gone through all of this. Now, if you will, if you have specific questions, go ahead and chat directly to me, not to the whole group, if you will. Just chat directly to me, because I can go ahead and answer those questions for you individually, or if I think it's something that the whole group can benefit from, I'll go ahead and send out some ideas around some of the bigger ideas that you're asking about. But those are the 10 things that you need to understand about the Indispensable Agent Bootcamp. Oh, and 2 favors. I am really, really humbled to have so many of you on this journey with me over the next 8 weeks. There's going to be some work on your part. I'm going to invest myself very deeply into this cohort. But here's what I need. I need you all to go ahead and help me understand what you like, what you would like to know more about, what you would do differently. I need that information so I can take Bootcamp and make it something that I can bring out into the broader market. That's my goal with this. But I don't believe that you get to have that opportunity unless you give. That's why I'm giving this to you, but that's what I need. I'm going to send out a survey at the end of each week. You're actually going to get a survey right after this as well, just so I understand where you are in your life as an agent, your motivation, what's driving you to be here. And then at the end of each week, I'm going to send you out a relatively short survey on what you've been learning that week. And I just love your honest opinion on how you're encountering the information. And then when we're all done, I would be honored if you get something out of this that you would tell your friends, that you tell your broker, the new agent coming in, because I want to build this for the people who you all think would be the best people to consume this information, right? I built a business mainly on the backs of giving value to other business owners and them putting me in contact with others. I don't see this as any different from that, but I'm going to bring a lot of value to you, and I hope that you'll help me with that. So that's everything. If you haven't already, go ahead and in the chat window, I'd love to see what you want out of the IA Bootcamp experience. I'm going to check my time here real quick, see how we're doing. We're almost up. And then go ahead and expect that you're going to get 2 more emails today. One is an invitation to the learning management system. That again is where we're going to put week over week the material for you to go and learn through. You're also going to get an invitation to take part in that first survey. Those survey results are from my eyes only, from me and my team only. So we won't be sharing them. We won't share them with your broker. We won't share them with your spouse. Nobody. We're going to keep it internally. I just need to know where you're at right now in the growth for your business. So that's all I've got for you all today. I really appreciate you taking the time. I promised that I'd keep this under 30 minutes, and I believe I've done that. So I will. This is going to be recorded. It already has been recorded. We're going to take this link and we'll load it up onto the LMS. If you ever want to come back to this to understand some of the principles here as well. I'm going to go because I think I've got a couple of ideas here. Let's see. We've got some folks. I love these. Just people saying hi, but I love it. You know, people continue to build businesses, keeping momentum with all these changes. ways to maximize business, minimize stress, learn best practices. All of that is here. Fantastic. And a lot of private stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and sort of look at everything that you've all posted. Really deeply appreciate all of your time today. And I very much look forward to investing into you, your team, your businesses over the next 8 weeks. Thank you all for joining me today. And I will see you in the first episode. At least you'll see me in the first episode. And we'll be back on here same time next Monday, every Monday, 3 o'clock on the webinar, and we'll send out a unique invitation to you so you can join us. Thanks, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon.